Mr. Posada, if we could have the roll, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner Batterson? Here. Commissioner Burtnett? Here. Commissioner Velasco?
Here.
Chair Henderson?
Here.
And for the record, I'm drawing a blank. Commissioner Carey is absent today.
Thank you. Before we get to the minutes of the February meeting, I'd like to read the mission of our commission. It's come to my attention that it hasn't been looked at in a number of years and could probably use some revision. And I thought that maybe we could start this process by reading what we have today and then taking turns at each commission meeting telling our mission in our own words, and that would serve to not only give purpose and guide us through our meetings, but also give us a starting point to looking at a revision. So if that's agreeable to everybody, I'll go ahead and read what we have existing, and then if somebody wouldn't mind taking next month's Pledge of Allegiance. I like it. That works. If that's okay with everybody. Yeah. Okay. Then what we have is the mission of the City of Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Commission is to provide the City of Santa Maria City Council and the Recreation and Parks Department with customer input regarding the provision of recreation and park services to the community. Important issues such as future park development, maintenance service levels at existing facilities, program affordability, youth programs, future leisure trends, and customer satisfaction are among the most significant. The Recreation and Parks Commission, through its authority to solicit public input, provides the consumers of leisure services with a venue to present issues related to the city's recreation and park system, programs, and services. So with that, the minutes of the February 14th, 2017 minutes have been distributed. Has everybody had an opportunity to look through those? Are there any suggestions for changes? Do I have a second? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. The minutes have been approved. We have two public comment slips. First, from Ms. Gudino.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cynthia Gudino. I am a part of a soccer community here in Santa Maria, and we've talked about this several times last year. I'm very grateful to the Parks and Recs to actually give us lights at the Minami Field for the community. However, the whole execution of it hasn't been really smooth. Probably it's been counted maybe once or twice that the lights are on during the week since they were given back in October. Last week, specifically on Wednesday, I actually had to ask for them to turn them on and they had no idea. So the staff itself is not the problem. It's above the staff because Gabriel does do his job. He's an awesome guy. I talked to him too. But there's just somewhere in between Gabriel and staff, the information is not being relayed. So I know more than staff, and that's pretty surprising. And I told the staff, it's nothing against them. They do an awesome job, and also Jim Davis, Alex Posada, Gabriel, but there's just somewhere in between. The information is just not being given to staff. So I don't know if you guys can work on that. I'm wanting to know if the contract or agreement regarding the property on Stolen Depot was executed, or how far along have you guys gotten on that? Because I do have some investors that are actually interested in getting a hold of you, but first they wanted to know if that property is available for the soccer fields. Minami, I already talked about that. The tennis lights at Atkinson, I've been driving by there every weekend, and the lights seem to be on during the day too. I know that you guys have a deficit, and we're trying to save on electricity bills, and the lights actually are on during the day on the weekend. So I don't know if you guys want to check on that. And also, I know I've talked to Alex, but I just wanted to put on record to see if the city is interested in taking over the women's league. We have 24 women's teams in town, and we just need someone that is willing to take over. And I really don't have anyone outside in the community to take over, so I was wondering if the city would be interested in the money that would generate for the city. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Ramirez?
Good afternoon. I'm representing the Santa Maria Valley Youth Soccer Association. And the reason for me being here today is, first of all, to thank you and congratulate you on the new year. The other reason, which is the main reason, I'm here because Santa Maria Valley Youth Soccer has been here for 40 years. We were approved yesterday. We requested the season. We actually have been playing for the kids, for the little ones, soccer for the past 5 years with the spring and fall seasons. And usually we submit our request November before the beginning of the year, or at the beginning of the year. This year, we submitted it in November. It was approved yesterday. But without two dates. Those two dates are the 29th and the 6th of 29th of April and the 6th of May, because the circus is coming. So this just tells me that soccer is being pushed aside. That soccer can only be played when the grass is not wet, because we rest the basins. What I heard the director say, this is the time when we rest them. But when the fair comes, we allow it to dry, and we even burn it, and then go back and fix all the main lines that are broken. The circus is going to come to the basin on the 25th, I believe, of April, through those 2 weekends through May. And what is it going to do to the basin? It's going to bring some trailers, some animals, some people. We have over close to 5,000 people, because we have about 950 kids already signed up, playing at that basin. That for us is a very, very special place, because we don't have a soccer complex. And I haven't heard anyone say, when is our soccer complex going to be started? Where is it going to go? So I'm here to bring it up to your attention. Please, don't allow the basin that we so much cherish for our kids, soccer, to be destroyed by the circus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Moving on to new business, I don't have anything listed here on the agenda or in old business. So if we can go to informational reports, if Mr. Smitherman could give us the budget update.
Well, Commissioners, with 66.64% of the fiscal year complete, the department is currently under budget by 3.49%. We do anticipate with summer hiring that number will drop by the end of the year, but right now we're sitting pretty good.
Thank you. Mr. Posada?
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
When will we start summer hiring?
We have water safety instructor recruitments happening now. That's our swim instructors. We have our recreation leaders, which will be hiring an additional 25 in addition to some replacement staff at the youth center, so approximately 30, which starts April 3rd or 4th. I'd have to look at the calendar, sorry. That first Monday in April, and then we will start lifeguards in May.
Okay, thank you.
Were there any other questions? I'm sorry. No? Okay. Then moving on to the noteworthy activities for the month of February.
Commissioner Henderson, if I can just have a minute.
Sure.
I'll give you some follow-up on public comment. Excuse me. We'll work on the light situation at Manami. I'm not understanding why that continues to be a problem. But we will talk to the coordinator for the staffing at the facilities and find out why that's a problem out there. The update on the soccer complex, which I was going to do on the report later, but I might as well bring it up now. So I'm surprised that the youth soccer people don't know, because it was a pretty big effort that we did getting all the input in. So the property immediately to the west of Adam Soccer Basin, or Adam Basin, across the railroad tracks, is property owned by the Quistapachi family. We've entered into negotiations with them for approximately a 7 or 8 acre parcel where the city would be looking to place phase 1 of the ultimately 4-field soccer complex there. So directly across the field from the Adam soccer field on the other side of the railroad tracks, phase 1 would be 1 field, restrooms, parking lot, that kind of support structure. That grant is into the state. We expect that we'll be hearing back from them hopefully by the end of May, maybe mid-June sometime, as to how that will proceed. So that's kind of the update. We're still waiting. I think Miss Godino's comment was a little bit more pointed in what was asking about where's the negotiation is with the property owners. So where that lies today is that they have provided us with a letter that basically allowed us to provide it to the state that says, yes, we're interested as the owners of the property in working with the city, once they get the grant, to come up with an agreement for use of that property. If that moves forward through the process, then the next step after, I'm trying to be very positive that we're going to get the grant, and the next step would then be to negotiate the actual deal for the land. Right now, the city's proposal is that we would lease the land from them, and that we would enter in negotiations to figure out what that lease is going to be. That kind of ends that part of the project. The second side of that is that they propose, as the developers, I believe there's about 150 acres total between Battles, all the way to Stoll and Depot to Blosser. That's their land. They have a proposal, a design concept that they want to do and develop that property. So when all that kind of starts moving forward, they are required by the city's zoning to take the property which we're locating the soccer field on to make that available to the city for open space. So we're trying to keep in that. The idea was to try to put it in a site that we knew that at some point in time in the future it would develop, and that land was set aside already for open space. So that's kind of where we are with it. Sorry, I don't know what's up with this. I was it. The second question about the basin. Just like everybody else, we need to make some money. We have 2 deals with the basin. One of them is the Fair Park, which is there's actually a requirement in the deed to the property, because it was owned by the Fair Park before. They deeded it over to the city, which allows them to have access in perpetuity over that parcel for their events. So that's why during the fair, they get to use that parcel. Jim and a couple of his predecessors were able to negotiate with the Fair Park to actually pay us money to use that parcel, since they were using it and charging people to spend the night there. So we do generate a significant amount of revenue that goes directly back into field maintenance for that basin. That's how we're able to renovate that field every year. And the fair comes at such a time during the year that in traditional soccer schedules that we used to have years ago, there was no use until September. And pretty much the summer, spring kind of programs, there really was not a soccer program, especially from San Maria Valley Youth Soccer. They were pretty much a fall program, ran for 8 to 10 weeks, and then they wrapped up and they were done. Well, we know that that's not the case anymore for anybody. But our obligation to the fair part continues. The second thing is that we've had the circus, I don't remember the name of the circus, in the basin at least 5 times over the last 15 years. And again, it generates money for the park use. We use that money right back into field maintenance and upkeep. It's basically 2 days out of the entire schedule for the basin. I think total, if you include the fair and this particular event this year, maybe, Jim, what do you think? 15, 16 days of actual somebody else using it, and then maintenance for about 45 days, 30 days, somewhere around there.
July will be the fair coming in, and then first Monday of, or after Labor Day will be when the field opens up again.
So that gives that summer rest period for the field to be renovated, and there's a fence up that the fair happens to put up, and we continue the rental until our field renovation is done. So I think everybody needs to kind of understand that there is it costs money, and so that's one of the ways we're trying to generate some money for that. I'm not exactly sure what the what the circus generates, but if memory serves me right, and it's just a real rough estimate, it's roughly about $2,000 that we collect from them for the rental, and they basically are there 3 to 4 days with their setup and everything. So, and their damage is minimal because it's not a full-blown circus. It's actually pretty small, and we're able to recoup that damage pretty quickly. So that's kind of the update on that. Let's see.
Did you have a question?
Women's Soccer League. So typically, we don't run too many leagues. The main leagues that we run and we've traditionally run is softball, men's softball program out at Hagerman, and then T-ball program, more of a training program for youth. Years ago, when San Maria Valley Youth Soccer started, I was on the board way back then. And one of the things that we did was to partner with the city, and the city did support the program for about the first 4 or 5 years, and then the program kind of took off on its own. So what we try to do with groups is get them to a point where they can, run themselves. That's kind of been the model. I will tell you that I did last meeting go over kind of a reorganization for the department. And one of the things that we put in there was to look at getting back to being the organizers of events and programs, especially in adult sports, where, as Ms. Godino points out, there is the opportunity to charge a fee and collect a fee and generate some revenue. So I'm not opposed to looking at that. I think it's when we do our transition, which, by the way, happens April 1st, we'll start transitioning duties over and moving people about in the department. So my suggestion is maybe touch base with Ryan Heath and maybe start that discussion now with him, and that it's an interest. I know I heard it from, I'm going to say it was Gabriel. Blasco mentioned it to me. So I am aware that there's an interest in that. So there may be something we can work out. Either way, I think we'd be, even if we don't offer it, I think we would be willing to try to help to get it organized so that it can go off on its own and be supportive. Youth volleyball, girls softball, youth basketball, all those started as, we started with them, kind of incubating them, and then they are now out there doing, their own thing. So, I certainly don't have a problem working with them on that. So,
We have a couple of questions.
Two questions. comments, questions. On the Women's Soccer League, I would also caution to maybe look at other groups, maybe the San Luis Soccer League, if that's somebody that you can combine with for fiscal, or other organizations. Just kind of keep an open view of that. So do your homework on maybe other partnerships. The other thing is, in terms of investors, for the question of the Quistapachi land, I feel like that's been brought up before. And just being part of the Community Partnership Committee and maybe even for the Park Development Committee, if there are such people, I think maybe actually seeing who those people are so that we can meet with them. I think it's been brought up numerous times, but never any detail.
Yes.
And I think it's kind of at that point where if there's community members that are coming forward that aren't coming to us directly, I think it's time for us to start that conversation to see everybody kind of has their own agenda, and we need to know where we stand moving forward.
And that's not a bad idea timing-wise, because, you know, if we do move forward with the grant and we're successful, there are many, many, many things that grant's not going to cover. We're not sure where the negotiations will take us. We're going to be looking for sponsorships. We're going to be looking for, you know, a number of things in this for this project to continue. So, yeah, we can certainly sit down with Cynthia and see if we can come up with some names and maybe holding a meeting with those potential people and say, this is kind of where we are. This is where we think we're going to go in the first, you know, year, year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? No. Okay, then moving back to the noteworthy activities for February. Any questions or comments about those? Under the Recreation Division, I thought it was really nice to see that the class was created to fill that need we had several months ago. Somebody come to us.
Zumba Gold, was that the one?
Right.
At the senior center?
Right. So I'm very happy to see that that's a need that's been fulfilled by the department.
You know what they say about no good turn goes unpunished. We're working on it.
Okay. I had a question about the citations for smoking just out of pure curiosity. I'm curious where they happened.
Sorry?
Where they happened?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Mostly
Okay.
around here.
Okay.
Mostly around the City Hall complex, the library area.
Okay.
Some of the parks. And again, it's mostly those parks that are frequented by individuals who don't have a lot to do in the daytime.
Right.
So those are usually the ones that are getting, because they're having the violation, they're the ones getting confronted the most.
Right. Okay. Then moving to item 8, Commissioner reports. Does anybody have official business to report? It's our last meeting.
So I thought maybe at the last meeting, did we hand out flyers for the Action Club fashion show? We'll send you something out in the mail. April 2nd at the Veterans Memorial. The Action Club, which is sponsored by the department and Special Olympics, has their fashion show. It's a Sunday. Is it on your list of events? We certainly would invite you to come out. Love to see you model in the show. Bring those of you that have little children can bring them out. It's your favorite outfit for them, and there's there's about 15 tables of about 10 people at each, 150 people more or less. There's a small runway that they go down and they do their fashion modeling and go down the list there, and there's a snack bag for each of the models and things. So it's a fun event. We haven't had it in 2 years. We're coming back with it this year. The proceeds will go to Play and to the Action Club. So we're looking for people to buy tickets. Tickets are $45, I believe. It is a fundraiser, keep that in mind. But for the models, it's free. They can come in and be in the show and participate. It's a very fun I don't know, I hate to say funny, that's not the right word. It's humorous. Some of our entries like to compete against one another every year and try to outdo themselves in their costumes and that they model. So Teresa will be there. So we're going to see how she's going to come. Oh yeah, she's going to model. We had to take the platform down from 4 feet high down to the ground though this year because, you know, it's actually, we used to do that from the height of the stage at the Veterans Memorial. There was a runway that came all the way out. We had some of our individuals who were using walkers or wheelchairs, electric wheelchairs, and we were very concerned about that. So we decided to bring it down to the floor level this year and eliminates a lot of setup that we had to do. So anyway, if you're interested.
For the record, I never fell.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. And the electric wheelchair never went off the edge of the ramp, so that's very true. But we'd love to have you come out and kind of take a look and see what's going on that day. I believe the show starts at noon.
It says 12:30 in our
12:30?
packet.
Okay. And then then there'll be one run through of the models. We usually have about, anywhere from 30 to 50 models come through. Mike Sell and his wife Wendy Tees, they do the emceeing for the event and participate. So yeah, we'd like to have you come out if you have a chance.
Fun. All right, then any community interest items?
Oh, sorry, that was it. I was ahead of myself. So.
Director's report.
All right, so I actually asked Teresa if she wouldn't mind just giving you a very quick overview of where we are on the Mayor's Youth Task Force, since that's Teresa's major assignment right now, is getting the task force moving.
Thank you, Mr. Posada. So we are looking at putting a technical committee together. The technical committee is associated with youth-serving organizations. But prior to creating a technical committee of youth-serving organizations, the mayor will form a task force against youth gangs and violence. So we are starting to do a dog and pony show. We're going to be at a Rotary meeting next Thursday. What they're going to do, the policy committee will be chosen by the mayor, and we're looking for a lot of people that are involved in community from various perspectives. Business people, faith-based people, law enforcement, schools, teachers, superintendents. It's going to be a heavy task force that has a lot of power within the community because of their professions. And they will be advising a team of technical committee folks that will fill in the gaps for the needs of kids who are on the brink of trouble, who are already in the system, so that we can work together to form a plan that is going to be funded by the County of Santa Barbara. And that plan is going to be done by the Youth Violence Coalition Prevention Organization, two people that have done many of these plans in the city of Santa Rosa, Modesto, Stockton. They came and visited us, and we do have some issues in our community, but some of the videos they showed us, the one that stands out in my mind is a Santa Rosa 4th of July celebration, and literally people are walking down the street with guns. And you're seeing people getting shot in the arm, people going down. It was very enlightening. That's one of the communities that they use their expertise to develop a youth violence plan. And so we feel very fortunate to have those consultants working with us. It's going to be a long process. The clock is ticking, the sooner the better, but we need to do this slowly and well. This is something that Santa Maria hasn't done in a very long time. There's been different versions of people coming together and solving people. But this is something in my career that I haven't seen, so we're very excited. We have a meeting on March 27th, and that's for our internal team. That is consists of Mr. Alex Posada, myself, the police chief, Lieutenant Cohan, who's very experienced with gangs, and I'm Eddie Galarza, our new outreach coordinator, who's doing a great job, by the way. So it's very exciting to get that group in the conference room here with the consultants and start the conversations that we need to have in order to take our town by the hold and make sure it's a safe place for all youth to the best of our ability. So we're still in our infancy, but we're moving along. And if you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you about it.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Teresa. Our church hosted 2 kind of big meetings, and I know that there were some other meetings last year, 2016 timeframe. So this is probably taking many of the same people, but just kind of doing it in an official context. Is that what the difference is?
Well, you're correct. Last year, there was an outcry of public, and there were several public meetings that occurred. It was a variety of administrators, faith-based people, law enforcement people, many of the titles that I just mentioned. But now we're organizing under the auspices of the city because we're the most obvious organization to take this on. So this will have structure, and there will be representation of most of the community. So we're looking forward to it. Nothing bad can come out of this, for sure, only good things. I feel fortunate to have the assignment because I'm very passionate, as you know, about youth. And this is really an opportunity for the community to come together, whether you believe the city does a good job or not. This is all about the kids and making them feel safe. We did the Safe and Strong program last year. It was a great success. We're going to continue that. We need to develop organizations and individuals who can work with us on positive choices for the kids so that we don't have to have this crime stats that we had last year. Within 20 years, Santa Maria from 2014 to 2016 had the highest number of murders it had ever experienced. So the meetings that you're talking about brought lots of people from lots of different places together, and we hope to copy that and do something very significant in the community.
Other questions? I think I missed it. How are individuals for this task force recruited?
We are going to be having our first meeting with the consultant, and he has what I would call a formula of what has worked in other organizations. Some of the obvious players to sit at the table are superintendents of the high school district, superintendents of the elementary school district, agencies such as CADA that are against alcoholism and drugs. The goal is to have people that represent every need sitting around that table so that no child gets left alone without having an opportunity to address their needs.
So to answer your question, the mayor is selecting those individuals that will serve on that committee. And there is, like Teresa says, a resource list of people and agencies that the city manager put together for the mayor to consider. And then Teresa has been working on contacting those agencies to let them know, for us to determine their interest in participation. Then the council, a couple of meetings ago, authorized the mayor to go ahead and move forward with organizing that committee. And then Teresa mentioned there's a subgroup of that committee will be created, which are actually going to be the service providers. The goal was to bring people who could make decisions for their organizations to a table and to agree, hopefully, on an action plan, and then to commit the resources from their agency necessary to implement that action plan through this technical resource committee of actually the agencies that would be doing the service. The city doesn't propose to try and do it all themselves, but to try to give a plan that all the agencies on the resource committee can implement and then have some measured outcomes and successes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa, very much. Did Jim touch a little bit on the We finally got the signed high school agreement.
Yes.
And that it should be in the packet that was on your diocese when you came in tonight. Worked on this for a little bit, and February 14th, the high school district board of directors approved it. And basically, all those pages come down to, it's a 5-year agreement, renewable every 5 years. There is an ability, I think it's 180 days notice, written notice, that either party can cancel it. The second whereas is under recitals on the agreement is the exchange of facilities. Manamic Community Center tennis courts, Elks Field, and the Veterans Memorial Auditorium are what the high school district requested. In exchange, we're asking the use of Pioneer and Santa Maria High School tracks and their school gymnasiums. The pools were not part of this because that's a separate agreement and different operation there. So ready to go with this. And yeah, the other thing that in the discussions that came up, we did ask about booster clubs and sports teams and those type of things, and they said, the district said that they'd be on their own if the softball team was going to be putting on a fundraising softball tournament during the spring break. They need to rent the fields, so we agreed we'd do it at the nonprofit rate, that type of thing. But that was not something the district office was interested in including in the agreement.
Thank you, Jim. And I think that was part of the issues that we had is, oh, well, we're here from the high school. And we call the district and they said, we don't have anything to do with this particular group, you know, and so it was difficult for us to track use and to, you know, we really felt we were being shortchanged on a lot of the joint use. So this agreement defines it a little bit better. It's very specific about facilities. And I would assume, and we have yet to try this, is that if it's not in the agreement, then both agencies agree that if we needed one of their facilities for something other than those on this list, that we would be paying the price for those facilities. So maybe some other side of negotiations, but these are the ones that are our major uses and their major uses of our facilities. And really, since they've passed their bond measure and done their site improvements and done their things, I think the high school uses dropped dramatically, you know, over the last 5 to 8 years, something like that.
Great. I know it was a great deal of work. So thank you for that.
The last thing, well, a couple of last things. So you have your commission meeting schedule for the commission committees.
Thank you.
What we tried to do is give you a little bit of lead time so you can maybe look at your calendars and see if these work for you. The to be determined is the budget committee. What I would like to suggest is that we're going to be preparing for our mid-year budget adjustment coming up. I'd like to ask the staff to invite Commissioner Henderson and Commissioner Batterson to their discussions, if for no other reason, is to familiarize you with the budget so that in next fall, or this fall, when we start preparing for the 18-20, scary, budget, you'll have some idea what the budget actually is, as opposed to walking into it, you know, cold in a year. So if you're on that committee, that's kind of the plan. Sometime between now and probably May, April, somewhere around there, there would be a meeting to kind of brief you on where the budget is now. I will tell you that yesterday at the city department head meeting, the city manager again painted a picture of gloom for the city as it relates to its pension requirements with the state, and those pension requirements are only going to continue to mount over the next 5 to 10 years, and so the city has to begin now addressing those. What are expected to be shortcomings. I believe it was $900,000 this year, which again put us in a structural deficit, the city overall. So departments are going to be asked to look at cutting back expenses. So we'll have to take that under consideration when the mid-year budget is looked at. Typically, we've tried to return at the end of the year somewhere between 1% and 2% of the budget to the general fund. Last year, I think we were just over 2%. I don't remember exactly.
We were under. There's only 1 year.
No, I mean that, yeah, so that we were at 98% of our budget, not over our budget, but, we try to return that much back, which is for us, if our budget's roughly $9 million, it's about $250,000, so it's a significant amount of money. So anyway, we've done pretty good. But this, again, with all the youth things going on, I've tasked Teresa with doing more programs, going to a school year program for some of our playgrounds, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, but it does cost money. So we may end up seeing that percentage dwindling down. And then you have your events sheets of what's coming up. Again, I think they also said you got an invitation from Special Olympics for the, is that for regional golf tournament? For you to come out for awards. Roughly, awards actually happen about 3:30 if you're able to swing by. It's a fun day out at the country club. If you want to come out and help present awards, that would be appreciated. And that's Saturday, so.
Great. Is there anything else? Mr. Posada, do you have anything else?
Not for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just have a comment. If you are excited about seeing the budget, you can go on the city website and pull it up and prepare.
Tonight. Oh, Active. I got on Active. It's great.
Good.
ActiveNet.
Could
yes.
you register
I didn't
me
register
for some things?
Did you?
I rented a hall, got my contract online, and I was able to check it. And
Wow.
okay?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, I see your face.
We were just surprised, okay.
I rented the facility, I got my contract from Marla, and I had everything, and then I signed it and sent it back. Yeah, it was
Nice.
very cool, because then I could forward that email to my person that I was working with, like, is everything look okay, let's go.
We did,
I had a link and everything.
the new recreation guy's getting ready to come out, and I spent my director's message talking a little bit about Active, and certainly closed it out with saying, we apologize in advance for any inconvenience you might have, because I couldn't figure out how to register my grandson for T-ball, so.
It was nice.
It looked easy.
Yeah, it was nice because before
Yeah.
you had to call and be like, what dates are available? And now I just went online and I was like, they're all available? Is this a glitch? And I was like, no, they're available.
Well, that telephone call would have taken about 10 or 15 minutes of our staff time at the counter.
Right.
So the fact that you do, that's the idea, is it'll free up time at the counter so that we don't have to answer those kinds of questions.
It was very nice.
Good. Glad to hear it. We are asking for testimonials, I guess. The middle of the rec guide this year has a bunch of notes, letters from kids about the department, and it's pretty cool looking. So a lot of the kids had a lot of positive things to say. So.
All right. If there's nothing further, then we'll adjourn to April 11th.